Okay, welcome everyone. And so we've just been kind of checking in. So if you are watching this later, check in with yourself. How are you doing? And mention at least a couple things that you're grateful for. Write those down or say them out loud. Something that maybe is different than what you've said the day before. And we're going to kind of go on with what we normally do here, which is read a poem. And so John has volunteered to be the poem master for today. So and don't worry, everybody gets an opportunity if you so desire. Or I don't know if do you get to pick who does it next? I can't remember how we used to do this. Yes, this is where everybody turns off their video and goes and runs and hides. But John, go ahead and share your poem, and then we'll
All right. Everybody hear me?
Yeah.
This is a poem by Vanessa Hughes, Living in the Now. What's gone has made you what you are, so don't fear what's ahead. Put trust in what will be, and choose to live instead. Don't live in the now worrying what may or may not be. Take this moment in your time and live it totally. There's no time like the present. Breathe deep and feel live. Living in the here and now will help you rise and thrive. Now is all there ever is. It's the only time that's real. Let the future take its course and leave the past to heal.
Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. That's a great reminder that we are here just to be present in the moment, to let go of whatever it is that's already happened or is already that's coming in the future. Were you getting ready to say anything else, John? No. Okay. Oh, okay. So thank you. So if anybody interested in sharing a poem next week, Sherry is. And actually, it won't be next week. It'll be 2 weeks because I figure that no one's going to be available the night before Thanksgiving because I know that's the biggest drinking night of the year. So, all right. So Sherry will do it on November, what is today? The 30th, right? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Awesome. So let's do a little teaching. So one of the things that mindfulness helps us do is to learn to tolerate and manage and to respond to something as opposed to reacting to negative emotions. But it's not going to get rid of those negative emotions. We still want our emotions to be useful for us, to color and just make our lives more varied, but we don't want to have emotions be overwhelming or destructive. So the idea is not to try to get rid of pain or bad thoughts, but learning how to actually kind of receive them, allow them to be, and open up and bring some kindness to moments that might be difficult. And we might choose to do this by focusing on feeling with a sense of curiosity. So whatever it is that's showing up, whatever feeling that is well, what is this? And what does it mean to feel sad or angry? And what does it feel like in my body? Are my hands clenched, shoulders, neck tense? For me, it's tends to be the jaw is where I carry my tension. Maybe your belly is tight. Just checking in with your body so you can begin to recognize how the role the body plays in our emotions. And this helps us cultivate awareness. And then that just checking in can reduce a sense of being overwhelmed, which often accompanies those kind of negative feelings. So in moments like this, see if you can just offer yourself a little bit of kindness and create some space to be present with whatever it is that's showing up. And by bringing that lens of awareness, we sometimes realize, hey, there's multiple parts to this emotion, and they're changing all the time. And mindfulness also comes in handy when looking at how judgmental our thoughts are and how those judgmental thoughts tend to intensify whatever negative emotion we might have. So, for example, if you're feeling loneliness and then you have this habit of kind of piling on a whole bunch of judgment whenever you feel some kind of twinge of loneliness, that can grow and become really unbearable. And then it kind of is like the Buddhist story of the second arrow, where you get shot with an arrow and it may cause some kind of pain. But then if we add on, oh my God, now I'm not going to be able to do this. And oh my God, now I'm not going to be able to do that. Or the only thing that's happened is I got shot with an arrow, and yeah, it hurts. But we want to try to see if we can notice when we're adding on all these other things, so that all that's left behind is that particular emotion, the sadness or the anger or the loneliness. And that's all that there is. And see if you can notice how I'm adding on particular other pieces to that. Another thing that's really helpful is, and we've kind of talked about this before, is the practice of naming what's going on. There's a phrase that if you name it, you tame it. And so that just by naming an emotional experience, we'll begin to regulate our response in the brain. And so I want to just share with you for a minute something that I share with a lot of clients. And see if I can, let me pull up share screen. And so this is called a mood meter. And if what you notice is that there are 4 different colors. On the x-axis is pleasantness, on the y-axis is energy. So oftentimes when there's a negative emotion, we're up in this red area. We might be feeling irritated, nervous, angry, frustrated, stressed. And so when we're up here, this is kind of like fight or flight. This is what's happening in our nervous system. And so by just labeling it, and then actually there's an app called the Mood Meter, which you can get, and you can carry this with you wherever you go. Just by labeling it, you bring that negative feeling out of the subconscious, you raise it up a little bit, you're looking at it, and now maybe you have this picture in your head, and you notice and you say to yourself, okay, I'm in the red. Do I want to stay here, or do I want to shift to something else? And so trying to remember that when you're up in the red, it's not called fight, flight, and think, because when we were first evolving on the plains of Africa and our lives were really in danger, all we had to do was either fight or run. Thinking wasn't really a major piece of that. And so that's why we don't do our best thinking when we're stressed. We're not designed that way. So the idea is to recognize, here I am, and then how do I get like into the green, where it's calm and chill and satisfied? And simple things such as just changing your breathing pattern, such as doing a breathing pattern that is an inhale to 4 and an exhale to 6, or something called box breathing, which is inhale to 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Doing that, even for a minute or two, will involuntarily decrease your heart rate, lower your blood pressure, and give you a chance to be present with whatever it is that's going on. So I always encourage people just to kind of have that in your head and recognize what it is that's going on. There was a study published a couple of years ago in something called the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. Sounds really in depth. And it examined people who learn to accept rather than judge their negative emotional responses to daily stressors. And what they found was that people who were able to accept the negative emotions, that's kind of like sit with them for a moment, did better mental health wise. So they had different scales that they used to measure these things 6 months later, as well as the fact that they had better resilience to daily stress, right? We're not saying that because we sit down to meditate that we're eliminating stress in our lives. That's not the case. It's how do we deal with it in a healthier way? And so by bringing kind of that sense of curiosity with you and allowing yourself to tap into that can increase your sense of awareness. And if you think back to, if you were with us, I think it was the first week, and I shared the poem, The Guest House, and I put that in the email that I sent out as well. And if you remember, he says, welcome all those emotions in, whatever it is, the meanness, the loneliness, the sadness, welcome it in. And so sometimes what I suggest to clients is kind of actually try to act that out. You're feeling a particular negative way, go to the front door, open it up, tell whatever it is that you're feeling, because you've labeled the feeling already now. Tell it to come on in, give it a seat on the couch. Would you like some water, maybe some tea, maybe even go fill up a cup and sit it right down there next to them. And after a minute or so of just sitting with that feeling right next to you and allowing that to be, you might look at your watch after a while and say, okay, time to go. And then open the door and let them out. Find a way to learn to kind of sit with that feeling as opposed to avoiding it, pushing it away. Kind of make friends with it, find a different relationship. And that's what practicing mindfulness, one of the things that it can help us do. So before I lead us into meditation, does anybody have any questions or comments? And you can either write in the chat or you can open up your mic if you like. Any comments? Okay. All right. You like the mood meter? Okay. So yeah, I highly recommend getting the app. I think it's 99 cents, App Store or whatever, the Android store. And then you can just play with it whenever you want. And it'll ask you, do you want to stay here? Or do you want to shift? It's a good question to keep in your mind. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and let's do a meditation to kind of help us cultivate an awareness of difficult emotions. And so go ahead and just find a comfortable position. And you can either sit with your eyes closed or slightly open, whatever feels most honest, whatever makes you feel most at ease. And just notice your breath. Go ahead and just breathe in, just naturally. Breathe out. And see if you can begin the practice by bringing to mind a difficult or troubling thought or sensation, situation. Something that carries a somewhat intense emotion, not the worst thing that you've ever experienced, but something that creates a sense of sadness or maybe fear, shame, anger. Just take a moment to see if you can think of something recently that fits that situation. And so see if you can feel where this emotion lives in your body. Ask yourself, what does this emotion feel like? Part of the body do you feel the sensations arising? No judgment, just notice. And throughout this meditation, I'll invite you to notice how the sensations are changing. And see if you can experience the sensations just fully in this present moment. Can you experience them without getting hijacked by them? Without trying to immediately or anxiously make it go away. But if that seems to happen, you notice that, just settle back, come back to your body. Feel the different sensations that come out of that emotion in this moment. Let go of any reactions in your body. Any judgment. Find that you're like adding some judgment on to whatever it is that you're feeling or thinking about how this meditation is going. Practice just letting go of those reactions as best as you can. Maybe thinking of them like birds just flying out of your hand or releasing them into the air. Just letting all those judgments and reactions go. And just return to the sensations of the emotion in your body. Shift your attention to fully feel the sensation. Bring your focus of awareness to the part of your body where the sensations are the strongest. And once your attention is moved to that bodily sensation, you might say to yourself, hey, it's okay. Whatever it is, it's okay. I can feel this without pushing it away, without getting caught up in it. I'm just feeling it. Staying with this awareness of the bodily sensations, just noticing your relationship to them. Allowing yourself to accept whatever it is that you experience. Softening and opening to them. When your mind wanders to something else or something you're going to do or judgment or whatever it might be, just gently bring them back to noticing the bodily sensations. Remember that emotions aren't always just one thing. Sometimes there may be moments of sadness or fear or frustration or helplessness. They all kind of mixed together, and whatever is there, just allow them to arise and pass away. None of it is permanent, constantly changing, moving, shifting. Just notice. And stay curious about your present experience, no matter what story or add-ons arise. Come back to the direct experience in this moment and ask yourself, what am I feeling now? What's happening? What's its nature? What does it feel like? And as we get ready to end this meditation, return your focus back to your breath, allowing anything that no longer needs to be there to be released on your exhale. Breathe in, deep breath out. And when you're ready, you can gently bring your eyes open, turn your attention to your room. Okay. How's everybody doing? I saw a thumb. Okay. All right. A couple thumbs. Well, good. So see if you can practice this throughout the week. And remember that the time that you spend meditating is a non-judgmental space. So practice noticing what's going on. So when these emotions come up, you practice working with them and being with them. So then later on during the day, you can practice doing the same thing. So the idea is not to get good at meditating. The idea is to get better at living. And that's why we do a meditation practice. And we'll if you have any questions between now and the next time we get together, feel free to email me text, carrier pigeon. And I'll be happy to get back to you. Otherwise, I wish everyone a joyous Thanksgiving season and holiday. And we'll be back with Mindfulness with Mark, same time on November 30th. Good night, everyone.